That dude I was just talking to, I think, seems a little suspicious. Quest completed. Homecoming. New quest. In the absence of an Ealdorman. Got another level up, I think? Oh, I guess not. It was extremely close, though. Nintendo can be stubborn with its pricing, and Amazon Canada apparently sold 300 plus copies of Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2. Still, I would imagine that the mispriced whopping $115 for that re-release will not last long. Nintendo likes to not really budge with their prices at the same time. Like, for sure, it's mispriced, where it's like, you can just buy the Switch 1 copy and the expansion and get it $10 cheaper, so at face value, that would seem like some sort of a pricing error. But maybe they're trying to do it to keep it more in line with the US prices, where I believe that Breath of the Wild in the US is $80 for Switch 2 version, and Tears of the Kingdom is $90 or something like that. And so maybe they wanted to keep it a bit more in line with rough currency conversions, because in the US, it is the same price for Breath of the Wild plus expansion or Tears of the Kingdom plus expansion as it is for just the Switch 2 edition. Minus the fact that it's technically a penny more expensive because, you know, ending in 99 cents for each, so the two things on their own is going to end with 98 cents, and going to be 99 cents for the Switch 2 version. My brain is still a little fried after the 24-hour cherry stream, admittedly. So you would still think that the bundle will be cheaper than the sum of its parts. But I feel like the prices are probably weird in Canada because they tried to standardize it around their price in the States. Something like that. But you think the most standard thing would just be that it costs the same as base game plus expansion at the very worst, as opposed to more expensive? But with them not really dropping their price outside of very specific sale events. I've seen comments from Nintendo before that say that they try not to have their games on sale because they don't want people that got the game early to feel like they were ripped off, that they can just wait and get a cheaper price. People may as well get their games now because that's the price that it's always going to be. I'm sure that's a factor, and another factor would definitely be them wanting people to think of their games having like a certain level of quality to them that warrants that price. Like, there's such a halo of quality over the game that costs that much that you're never going to find it in the bargain bin, and stuff like that, I'm sure, is another factor. So, because of their whole, we don't really want to drop the prices because we don't want people that got it at a more expensive price to feel like they should have just waited. And we want people to expect that this is the price it's always going to be, so may as well pick it up whenever. I feel like that mentality might make it so that that $115 for Tears of the Kingdom for Switch 2 might just be the way that it stays, even when it makes no sense to ever buy Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2. That was one of the things I mentioned in the video essay on Switch 2 prices, where the only real perks are, I guess, convenience. You get a box that looks a little bit different, that I would argue looks less interesting with the whole big Switch 2 edition on it. I think the one big selling point that it could potentially have for it is it would have more resale value in the future after the servers are taken down, assuming that what's in the box is a cartridge that has Game Plus enhancements on the cartridge. Because one day when the servers are taken down and you can't install that stuff anyway, that cartridge with everything on it would have more sale value than just a Switch 1 cartridge being in there that needs to have an expansion download onto it. Which, maybe that's the case, so maybe that's not even a perk. Maybe you still have to download the update. I have no idea. It's not like I'd be buying a Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think that I would want to play a Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild, at least anyway, because I don't think the speedrunning tricks that I know would work as consistently if my frame rate is, like, doubled. If it's 60 FPS. I think I heard someone say at one point that it's, like, 120 FPS, Breath of the Wild, the Switch 2 edition, / the expansion. Which, if that's the case, there's no friggin' way I'm getting my frame-perfect tricks anymore. I need my 30 FPS to get those frame-perfect tricks. I'm not good enough to do that in 60 or 120, I don't think. So I don't think I would want to play Breath of the Wild at more than 30 FPS anyway. Here's the Kingdom, I could see myself wanting to do that, but meh, I don't care that much. I've got other games I like to play.
I overheard them talking about a bathhouse. There's no working bathhouse in Lincoln. So I gather.
But if anyone is buying a Switch 2 who never owned a Switch 1, then they may as well save some money and just buy Switch 1 version of Tears of the Kingdom and buy the expansion if they really care. You're paying $115 for Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition. Extra $10 for the sin of convenience. And maybe more resale value in the far future if, depending on what's on the cartridge. That's the only real true selling point that I can see for it. Things like the different box, I think, are kind of jokey selling points. The more resale value I can see being a serious perk, but you shouldn't have to pay $10 more for that. And again, realistically, a bundle should be cheaper than the sum of its parts. But Nintendo doesn't do that with Pokemon, and clearly doesn't do it with Zelda either, I guess.
It weren't wise to let those Mercians know.
Hey, go down, darn you.
If you ask me, what choice do we have? At least this way they'll leave us.
Oh. He just went after me immediately. Whoops, wrong button. Oh, he just died from that. Where'd this guy come from? What? Now he's throwing barrels like Donkey Kong. Well, explore the bathhouse. How about I murderize everybody in the bathhouse? How about I do that really quickly? Wow. And then well. And then, whoops, no follow-up stomp for me. That's fine. This is fine. Ow, I don't have any iframes while I'm stomping. That's unfortunate. There, I was right on the verge of leveling up, so... Oh, now he's gonna attack me. I'm gonna choke out nothing. That was like the end of a spring trap. More reanimation from Dead by Daylight! Because that was a recently released thing, and I had that on the mind after watching the animations on YouTube out of curiosity. Where after you die, he roars at you. That was kind of like that. Well, so much for that level up, but maybe I can go in stealthy this time now that I know that everyone in the bathhouse is going to come after me immediately. And checkpoint me here? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, this game. Well, anyway, some other stuff with the 24-hour cherry stream. When I looked up Gates to Infinity on how long to beat, I think it said like 18.5 hours. Let me look it up again, out of curiosity. How long to beat Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity? Let's see here. An issue with the Switch 2 edition of the Wells that you cannot transfer save data from the Switch 2 versions back to Switch 1 versions. Upgrade locks an ongoing save file to the newer console. Oh, dang. So I guess if you... Would that be with the physical only? So, with the whole virtual game cards thing, could you buy like a Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom virtually? And then with the whole, you can freely transfer your virtual game cards across those in your family group or two systems that are linked to your account. Would you not be able to transfer that game to your Switch 1 and continue to play it on that? If so, that sucks. Oh. I had it in the back of my mind that it listed it at like 18.5 hours. I don't know what game I was getting confused with that I thought it listed it at 18.5 hours. But it listed it at about 23 hours, which I'm now realizing I should have realized that I wouldn't have much time for much else in the game before starting it, and should have minimized the time in other stuff. Because I believe it was like an hour, 20 minutes-ish, something like that in Dead by Daylight. Then it was like 50 minutes in Mario Kart, and then it was like 40 minutes in Last of Us Part 2. Something like that. Because I had it in the back of my mind that this game is going to take me like 19 to 20 hours, something like that. I should have double-checked this page before I started the stream. Whoops. Because where this is going is, I realized that the game took me longer to beat than expected. And just like the 24-hour Cherry Stream 10 when I played through Pokemon X, I wanted to do... Well, with Pokemon X, I wanted to do all the main stuff that I wanted to, including the post-game. I did not do the post-game of Gates. I'll do that sometime later. But I at least wanted to beat the game first and foremost. And so, what started as a 24-hour stream became a 25.5-hour stream. The same as the Pokemon X one, where I did all the main post-game stuff that I wanted to do. So, I kind of told myself after that first 25.5-hour stream, like, oh, I don't think I'm doing that again. And then I did it again immediately the next year. Yeah, whoops. and double checking how long to beat, I'm realizing that was my mistake. Because here I thought like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have time for other side stuff, and realistically, I did need to do that other side stuff to stay awake. I would have passed out from boredom otherwise, so I kind of needed to do that. But had I known that it was gonna take that long, I would have taken less time in those other games. And after reaching 25 and a half hours, what the heck? After reaching 25 and a half hours, I could have absolutely just kept on going and then set an even further record than I have before, maybe gotten to 26 hours. But I really didn't care all that much about setting a further time. I needed to get some sleep. I was starting to nod off. It wasn't as bad as at the end of the Megaland stuff, but I was not feeling great. I'm still not feeling 100%, honestly. But again, I wanted to do a little smidge of stuff here before heading out of town for probably about a weekish. And while I'm away, then I'll have some stream stuff that I can work on. I still have a lot of the 24-hour cherry stream that I could work on. I've done working on about a little over half of it. I've done parts 1 to 23 of the 40-part series that is Gates to Infinity, so over half of it. Done the Mario Kart stuff, done the Dead by Daylight stuff. Just need to do the stuff with the Last of Us stuff and the other 17 parts of Gates. And I already have some of those thumbnails in progress and working on it here. I decided to go a little bit harder on the thumbnails for this one, where on most things I will just get like a related font to be the font that I use for the numbers in the bottom left. And my video editor is freezing up here. Come on, don't freeze up. Here we go. So I usually do something like this, but I put together this custom text in my graphic design software where I couldn't find an exact font match for Gates to Infinity. Like you can see, for example, that like this hole in the A is not quite the same as that hole in the A. So I couldn't quite find the exact match, but I found something really close, and I styled it in my graphic design software to look much of the same. Whereas like I drew the shading for these bits on the text. I did an outline that has like the blue at the top and red at the bottom, and then an additional outline of black, then an additional outline of white to really replicate that. And I thought that it turned out pretty good to replicate the Gates to Infinity title with the 24-hour cherry stream 12 text. So I thought, what if I did that for the thumbnails here? But unfortunately, I can't do anything that crazy within Camtasia here. This was the name of the font that I found, World 3. I can just give them like a shadow, change the color of them, basic text effects like underline, and not really all that much else. So I took the time to go into my graphic design software, and I typed out the numbers there, and I started exploring them. So this probably isn't going to be like a regular thing that I do for different series or anything like that, but I did set this up here such that I can just type and be like, oh, this is part 32. It's lagging because I'm running Assassin's Creed Valhalla right now. 33, 34, and then I just exported each of these as images. So each one of these is an image that I have saved on my computer. I decided to do this for this series of thumbnails, and I thought that it would make them look kind of cooler. So I'm probably not going to do that as a new regular thing with different series, but I wanted to do it for this one at least, and I kind of like how it turned out with that. So yeah, anyway, that was my little artistic experiment when it came to the Gates to Infinity stuff. So yeah. So I've been working on that a little bit, and I'll work some more on the proper thumbnails out of town and all that. And of course this stuff, and if I do a stream tomorrow, then I'll work on that. I like giving myself some stuff to work on while I'm out of town, since I can't exactly stream. Will be the case.
Damn it!
Does it ever end? Just out of curiosity, do they program it to end? Or do guards in this game just have infinite bladders? I'm thinking they probably have infinite bladders. Is what it's seeming like. Oh, maybe not. Wow, that was long though. Wait, is he gonna do it again? He's doing it again! Well, rations are full. only that was for adrenaline there. You can surely transfer the Tears of the Kingdom virtual card to the Switch one, but you'll not be able to transfer an original save file from the Switch 2 edition ROM to a Switch 1 console ROM. Okay, so it's just the save data there. But any addition in the Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition might be the ability to share builds to the Zelda player community through the Zelda Notes app. Yeah, I think that's the one big selling point that I saw with both of them, is that there's like the build sharing option. Which, I feel like if it's going to be in the game, it should just be in there rather than being locked behind a $15 paywall, in my opinion, but yeah. And apparently people are already breaking the game with it by, I guess, hackers or something like that, or posting auto builds of, like, just Ganondorf, and then anyone can download that. They just spawn however many Ganondorfs they want. I was seeing some clips of that online, and it looked really funny. It took him a while before he jumped over there. So apparently there's some broken things going on in Tears of the Kingdom now, which is pretty funny. Are they gonna hear this? Nope. Maybe because I'm crouching. I don't know if they would if I stood up. Time to die! Wait. What if I were to say...
More Mercians traipsing across our routes. Can't piss from here to Bolingbroke without someone demanding some ungodly deal.
Where's he going?
Smuggling a difficult job. Smuggling will
Is he
always
pathfinding
be
this way?
I prefer it to paying tribute.
Okay, that's not how I thought doing that would go.
To the Mercian crown.
Well, they don't really care about the dead body that I just dropped on them. Amazing. Yeah, I was about to say there was a yellow glowy thing here, so I picked up a tooth. Should I leave some money like the tooth fairy? Ah, sniffles. You're facing that way.
Hey, what?
What? Your friends see nothing. Discover where the sewers lead. I can do that. Stabby stab. Rectangular stone. That looks like a brick. That kind of looks like. Did they not hear that? Yoink, I'll take that longbow. You're just hearing in the background. Alright, well. Longbow, predator bow. Ah, sniffles. I don't know. Oh, that was my bomb. They're just now setting it off, and now they're wandering away because they're weirdos. What? No! 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 Oh. The bombs don't take off a lot of their health, but it does a lot to their meters for stun attacks. So, you weren't gotten for that, but I can still do that anyway in stun attacks, so that works. Falcon kick. Falcon kick. Hi. Can I just say, do that and then do this? That works great for me. I think the ones that were sleeping woke up. Hi.
Don't make me angry.
He's not currently angry. Hi, nice miss. Well, stun attack. It's just the same animation over and over again. I just can't stop stomping people.
You can't just scamper away from me.
What? How is that not his weak point? You can't just scamper away from me, proceeds to run away. A different animation that we can't really see because the camera's working perfectly. So, there's another guy? May as well grab this. Yoink. What? Oh, I still grabbed it. Nickel. I still don't really know what I do with that. Not quite sure. Yeah, go check it out. Hi. Stab. Do I go this way somewhere? So yeah, that stream took me longer than expected. I was feeling really quite done for by the end. I still think that the most tired that I've ever been during a stream of mine would have been the end of Super Paper Mario, where I got home, was busy for a little bit of the day, and then resumed stream where I left off when I was already super tired and sleep deprived to finish it off that day. And I was, that final level approaching the final boss, I was starting to hallucinate. Let's go ahead and ban that bot. And just be like, half awake, half asleep, sort of dreaming there. Never really sure what's real like that. Only time I've really been in that state. And the second most tired would have been towards the end of the 24-hour cherry stream 11. The extra life pinball one that I did. But this last one, maybe it's a close third. That or Pokemon X might be pretty close, potentially. I was feeling pretty beat by the end of that, too. I feel like I was probably more tired during this one than the Pokemon X one, just because Gates bored me so much more than I thought it would. Like, once it started picking up in the second half, it was a bit better. But, oh my goodness. The lag. Oh, the frames. But man, I was just not a big fan of the dungeon design in that at all. I really wish that I was playing any other mystery dungeon game in that moment. But, got through it, did the thing.
Cloak, the image of a swan. Looks like the Ealdorman passed this way.
Well, as I was starting stream there, you can see the little fundraising bar there at 350. But that's technically not the true total because there was also like bits and gifted subs and stuff like that. So I totaled it up earlier today. And this is apparently our true total that was fundraised during the event. Where, I mean, if you want to be accurate, the subs would be plus $7.99, not 8. So plus 2 additional cents, but I'll also make a contribution, so like the true total will be higher than that as well. So I guess you could argue that that's not even the final total, because I haven't made a donation yet. Ammo is full. What did I just slide under? I'll bring my envelope with monies into the Taekwondo Dojang tomorrow. So I'll put in something more from me, and I'll just round up to like a nice even number. This is what I'm thinking I'll do. So yeah, raised a decent little smidge of funds there. But like I said, I'm still kind of in recovery mode. My energy right now does not feel like what it should normally be at while I'm doing one of these streams. Do I have to backtrack all the way? Because I saw the key through the wall there earlier. Wait, do I have to dive? Why is the frame rate tanking here, by the way? Oh, just down this way? Like this, I gotcha.
I know a lonely door that would love to meet this key.
Roaring Meg Spring Key. Up we go. So, I've been a little bit out of sorts. And yesterday in Taekwondo training really super exhausted me because it was already, as is, a super exhausting class. But then on top of that, the whole being completely beat from the prior day wrapping up the 24-hour charity stream. We ended up doing sparring practice, and the main thing that we were practicing was machine gun roundhouse kicks, which is probably one of the most exhausting things that you can do in Taekwondo training in general, never mind being in sparring there. So, machine gun roundhouse kicks is when, like, a roundhouse kick would just be like that from the side. You do a double round, it'll be like 1-2. Machine gun is you just keep going. Wham, 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 wham. Over and over and over. And, yeah, so that is how to completely drain your stamina super, super fast. New proposition, Orvin. We have received an offer from an unnamed Saxon requesting safe passage through the sewers to Bolingbroke. The amount is considerable, which leads me to believe they have something of great value they cannot afford to be seen with. Insist on seeing what it is before accepting their offer. If it merits it, double the amount. If they refuse, kill them, Lucian.
Saxon noblemen paid some bandits for permission to sneak through these tunnels on their way to Bolingbroke Castle.